Have you ever hit snooze in the morning? Because if you ever did, this episode is for you. Today, we're chatting with Lizzie Brown, one of the co-founders of Yoga Wake Up. So Yoga Wake Up is an app that has audio-guided stretches. When you wake up in the morning, it starts playing a yoga routine for you to go from laying down in your bed to standing up on your legs, but very gently. So if you've ever been through this cycle of hell of hitting snooze and then you're just more tired and you close your eyes and bam, it's, snoozing again with that terrible sound, then you're going to love this episode. Let's listen to it right now. Hi, Lizzie, and welcome to The Good in Motion. I'm very happy that we're having this conversation today. I'm sure the audience will be able to get a lot of value from it. So you approached me to talk about an app that you've created, and I was very intrigued because it solves a very common problem that I think most people experience in their lives, which is waking up in the morning and hitting snooze. So what's your experience with hitting snooze in the morning?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me too. I actually started this app with my husband because I was someone who woke up snoozing my alarm at least 2 or 3 times every morning, and he wasn't. So, anyone who's in a couple where their partner has different habits than they do when they're waking up, they are challenged by this. And so when Joaquin started thinking about how could I solve this so that I get better sleep in the morning, so that I'm not interrupted every 10 minutes while Lizzie snoozes her alarm, he thought that it would make sense to interrupt my snoozing with something more gentle. And that was the beginning of Yoga Wake Up, which really was a way to have a gentle morning experience that is about the same amount of time that you would snooze your alarm. So instead of that 9 minutes every time you hit snooze, you go back to sleep, but you experience sleep inertia, you feel groggy. It's why we feel groggy when we wake up in the morning. Instead of having that experience, you could stretch in bed, set an intention for the day, perhaps meditate, and instead of, interrupting your sleep, you are giving yourself something more positive to do in the morning. And it fixed it. So I no longer snooze my alarm. So that is the beauty of this app, is that it gives you something healthy to do instead of snoozing.
Yeah, and I would even add that I don't know about other people, but when I snooze, I don't snooze just one time. It becomes this cycle of hell where I'm just more tired and tired each time I hit snooze. So it's actually more 30 minutes in bed compared to these solutions that you provide us with, which is, how long is it?
The app has hundreds of practices that can range from anywhere to 5 to 20 minutes, depending on what you're looking for. So we even have people who have told us that they'll stack audio practices. So they might do one, like a meditation to get them ready for the morning, and then maybe they'll do a more movement-based practice that gets them into their body and feeling more motivated and ready for the day.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea because it's habit stacking. Once you just completed a win for yourself, getting you out of bed, it's easier, I think, to follow up with another habit like meditation or yoga.
Yeah.
So why do you think... Yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to add that I think that the reason that a lot of us snooze is because we actually aren't ready to wake up at that time when the alarm goes off. And so by having this, whether it's a meditation or a gentle movement practice, it helps us connect our breath to movement. And that simple act is enough to motivate you to get started and get out of bed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very gentle solution, I find. And so you just touched on this, saying the reason why we hit snooze in the morning may be that we're not ready to wake up. Why else do you think? Is it the lack of sleep, or did you collect some feedback around you of why people hit snooze?
Yeah, so one of the things we have realized is that, a lot about your morning routine does begin at night, right? It begins the night before. Snoozing is a habit just like anything else. So it's something that if you're, used to doing and you just have to kind of break the cycle, it makes sense to introduce something instead. And that's why this is really helpful, is it's something that you can do in the amount of time that you would otherwise be snoozing your alarm. When you go to bed the night before, how many hours of sleep are you getting? That's part of it. Also, the consistency around your sleep. Are you going to bed around the same time every night? There's all of these different sleep hygiene factors that come into play when we think about how difficult or easy it is to wake up the next day.
Yeah, I really like that you just say that snoozing is a habit as well, because I never saw this this way. I can see it now that when I was in this cycle of snoozing, there are days where I slept enough and I could wake up. It just, my habit was to stay in bed a
Exactly.
little longer.
Yeah. And you can
So,
still stay in bed a little longer, but instead of kind of doing it mindlessly, falling back asleep and then waking up like to this loud alarm again and falling back asleep and waking up to it again, we're introducing something more mindful that actually might give you more rest and relaxation than the effects of falling back asleep from snoozing.
yeah, and then you don't have enough time to eat breakfast or get coffee, and you're even more mad.
Scattered,
Yes,
exactly,
and
anxious.
stressed. We connected before this episode, and you shared with me that you have extensive yoga experience. So I'm curious to know, for our listeners who are curious about the app, do they have to know the yoga or meditation vocabulary to get started? Do they need to be flexible?
I'm
How
so
does that
glad you're
work?
asking this. So 80% of the people who use Yoga Wake Up are actually do not identify as yogis.
Okay.
So no, you don't have to have experience, and you most certainly don't have to be flexible. Yoga will make you more flexible. You don't need flexibility to do yoga. And I don't even mean necessarily flexible in your body, like physically, but by practicing regularly, you may have more flexibility of your mind, right? So I think that, especially because, and I should add that our app is audio only, it's audio by design. So we don't try to teach you anything, particularly challenging. Most of the yoga practices in the app, like I said, they're shorter. They're 5 to 15 minutes long, and they're really more about gentle stretching. And a lot of it is stuff that you could do lying down in bed. So imagine that you're lying in bed and you are twisting side to side, or maybe you're taking a full body stretch, but you're doing it really actively, like you're thinking about how it feels while you're doing it. And that is just the simplest, expression of a yoga pose, just kind of being present in the movement. And that's what you'll find with our app. And then, of course, there's a series of practices, our collection called Get Up. and it's just like it sounds. It's stuff that gets you up and moving and gets your heart, pumping a little bit faster, but nothing that is, nothing that would make you, sweat or feel, particularly tired. It is all more to give you a little bit of energy, so more of a boost in the morning. I wouldn't even call it fitness, but maybe for your mind.
I like that. Fitness for your mind. Yeah. Well, I tried it, and definitely I support what you're saying, is that I don't feel there's any specific skills required. It's really come as you are. If you wake up, I don't know, groggy or whatever, The way you wake up, it's very gentle and you don't have to think. You're guided. It's very a nice way to wake
Thank
up in the
you.
morning. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that it is that it offers such a variety of not just practices but also voices, because we wake up in the morning and you don't not everybody's going to resonate with the voice that they hear, and you can choose from male or female, a variety of kind of moods, I guess. I've had people tell us before that it sounds like their best friend is motivating
Nice.
them, or
Your
even that
inner
they're,
voice,
yeah,
maybe.
maybe your inner voice. I like that. But the general vibe of it is to help you, like to give you a little nudge and help you feel inspired.
Yeah, I like that, a little nudge in the good direction of starting your day gently, listening to yourself, to your body, to your breathing. That's very nice. Nicely done in such a short amount of time. And if you need a French accent, I don't know if you have anybody
We would love
waking up
that.
with a French accent, but I'll be happy
I'm
to help.
sure it would be very popular.
What are the benefits you? I mean, we've just talked about this of how waking up with an audio guided stretch can create wonders for your routine. But I'm curious, what are specific feedback you received? Like, how did that create more self care habits to have this one in place?
Yeah, definitely. So the biggest piece is the mood enhancing effects. Reducing stress and anxiety and improving the mood, and that's also the benefits of having a daily yoga practice. This just being something that's abbreviated that you can kind of squeeze into a busy day. But also the physical benefits of stretching in the morning. There's reduced risk of injury just by doing gentle stretches that do help us be more flexible, but also just can prevent the aches and pains that we tend to feel, or not prevent, but reduce those aches and pains that we feel when we wake up in the morning and our body is tight. And because these are certified yoga teachers that are leading these practices, one of the things I've found is that practices introduce you to so many new stretches that you have never considered, to get into like the nooks and crannies of your body. So we have ones that are specifically designed for tech neck. So if you're so if you're looking at a screen all day, it's so helpful to do one of these practices that can help you prevent just the tension that we feel in our neck from that kind of repetitive movement that we have every day. Same thing with your hips or wrists. Like we have practices that are specifically designed just for like wrist and hand mobility. So in that regard, there's an attention to the physical benefits, and then because you're learning these new stretches, you can introduce them to your day anytime. I never thought much about doing wrist stretches before I did one of those practices in the app, and now when I'm in the middle of my work day and I'm kind of you can take a few minutes and just focus your attention on this single body part and do like wrist rolls. And there's this, I can't even describe it in audio, but our teachers are much better at this than I am. But like flicking your fingers, like that simple act of like if you're flicking your fingers outward, that can be something that will energize you like throughout your whole body, but at the very least in your hands. And these are all short practices that one can do in the morning and then throughout the day as they need.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought about this because I feel that I wouldn't stop my day to go and look at YouTube videos on how to stretch my wrists or my neck. So I love that this tool and this habit just gives you that moment to learn something new that's good for yourself. And once you've tried it once, it's easy to just repeat during your day. So
and even to become aware of it, because how like when we get busy in our workday, and maybe you can feel stress creeping up, and you have these practices in your back pocket now that you've become aware of, now you can become aware of, how you feel in your body, and be like, oh, I should take a few minutes and just do some neck rolls, and then be able to feel the positive effects of that to improve your mood, also improve your physical feeling, in the middle of your day. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that these benefits, these things that you do first thing in the morning, they have the ability to overflow throughout the rest of your day. And that's really the point, is we want to set ourselves up for success when we first wake up. Mm-hmm. And we have that time to ourselves, like it's just 5 minutes, 10 minutes. How are you spending that time? Like, are you spending it thinking about how you can improve your mood for the day and prepare for a great day ahead? Or are you spending it, scrolling on your phone or watching, things that are making you more stressed? Like, just being aware of your mood and your energy, and introducing things that improve those feelings.
There's definitely different layers of posing in the morning and having a toolbox of stretches, exercises to use throughout the day.
Definitely.
So when I heard about the way to use the app, the first thing that came to mind is, okay, how do I implement this into my routine? And at the time, it's different now, but I wasn't waking up at the same time as my partner. So I'm curious to know if that has been brought to your attention, and what type of advice do you give to people who are like, yeah, I want to do that, but that doesn't seem to fit?
Yeah, and I've had people ask us this before. So some people say that it is quiet enough, that it doesn't impact their partner's sleeping. For those who don't, or even, other kind of similar experiences, like say if you wake up really, really early and it's still dark. I mean, there are a handful of different reasons, like why maybe you don't, maybe you can't easily stay in bed and use it. I've had people tell me that they just kind of grab their device and take it into another room, and they'll do their practice in another room. I mean, the way I see it is, it's not something that should cause more trouble than it, it should be something that you can kind of easily incorporate into your routine. So if that means taking it into the living room, or, doing it like not immediately after you wake up, but mid-morning or before you have something important to do that day, like just finding a way to fit into your routine. And we even have practices that are designed for bedtime and afternoon. So if you can't get to it in the morning, then I encourage you to try some of the afternoon practices that you can do anywhere. A lot of them you don't even need a yoga mat, so you can just do them at your desk. We have desk stretches, and then the stuff that you do at bedtime. Sometimes when I have trouble falling asleep, because we do have bedtime practices that help you fall asleep. If my husband's out, like he's completely fast asleep, but I'm not, I can't, and I'll put on a bedtime meditation quietly, and it's not distracting for him, and it helps me prepare for falling asleep. So I think you just have to find a way to make it work in your schedule.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be played loudly in the whole house. Do you have any suggestions?
Some people wear headphones too.
Yeah, exactly.
And more people than I expected sleep with headphones. And I know that for some of our practices that use binaural beats as the background music, there's actually an added benefit to wearing headphones, because you get the experience of binaural beats in both ears. But I haven't tried that. So I'm not entirely clear on the science of it, but it's a type of music that is at a frequency, I think it's 528. It's a frequency that is most soothing to our ears and to our nervous system.
Okay.
I'd say look it up, because I don't know.
Yes, I will.
They're called binaural beats, and they have a different sound that plays out of the right and out of the left channels.
Okay.
So that's why they're most effective when they're worn with headphones.
Yeah, otherwise it's coming from just one speaker and you
Right.
get everything mixed up.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, if some people are interested to mix those two habits, they can explore this as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's aligned with the all of the different kinds of noise, like ambient noise, like white
Yeah,
noise,
white
brown
noise.
noise, pink noise. All of these, I believe, they're at a different frequency. There are ones that are designed for relaxation or energy or various kinds of feelings. I believe in it,
Yeah,
but I don't know enough
yeah.
about it.
Okay, for me, I need to test it. Each time I
Yes.
learn something new, I'm always a bit, going the other way, and eventually I need to try it and
That's
get a result for
That's
myself.
good. We have to be
Mm,
discerning. There's so many things out there, so it's good to test and make sure it's right for you,
absolutely. And
especially since you're sharing it with your community.
yes, absolutely. And for our listeners who want to actually give it a try, where can they learn more and get started?
Yeah, so you can find Yoga Wake Up on the App Store and on Google Play. It's free to download, so no reason not to give it a try.
Mm-hmm.
It comes with a 7-day trial, and then the offer is a monthly or annual subscription. The monthly subscription is $13.99, and if you subscribe annually, you save over 50%. And you can also find us at yogawakeup.com and Yoga Wake Up at Instagram and TikTok. So
That
lots
sounds
of
great.
places to find
Yes,
us.
yes. No excuses. Everything is very easy. And the ability to just give it a try is fantastic. So thank you for allowing that. Okay, there is a question I always ask all of my guests. What is a recent win that you had either in your business or personal life that you would like to share with us, just so we remind everybody that it's good to have goals, but it's also nice to take a time to appreciate how far
I love that.
what we've accomplished. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so my recent should be like within the last couple of weeks, right? Like super recent. Um,
Whatever
okay,
comes to
my
mind. Yeah.
my 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 most recent when I suppose it's consistency. I've had a personal goal of being consistent in my yoga practice, which is it's Ashtanga, so it's a disciplined yoga practice where you are encouraged to practice every day except Saturdays and twice a month on moon days. And I've been really consistent with it. And so I'm just really proud of the consistency around it. So that's a win for me because, I think on point with this conversation too, because it's not about how long you practice or how hard you practice, but I think it's really most important that you just try and do something every day. So
Yeah, I
that would
love
be
that.
it.
Congratulations
Thank you.
for doing this, and I love that. Yeah, you take a moment to experiment new habits for yourself, or to challenge yourself with the length of it. So that's awesome. I hope
Thank
you
you.
can continue if that's what you want, or experiment other
I do.
things.
My goal is to, for the month of November, to go every day with the exception of the days that you are required off, which are Saturdays. So
Okay,
yeah, so far I'm at 2 weeks.
2 weeks in.
Yeah, straight,
Okay,
like, yeah.
yeah. I love that. No, yeah, November is around the corner. I'm cheering you on
Thank you.
for this challenge. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Lizzie, for being here with us today. We know where to find you, and we can't wait to stop hitting snooze in the morning.
Thank you. Me too.